Javaughn, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. It's really a privilege and an honor. You
Mm,
are a very respectful young man. I appreciate the journey that you're going on and that
mm,
you're willing to share that journey because there's so many people that are going through different seasons in their life, having to change locations,
mm,
change occupations, and it's not always been easy.
mm,
But one of the things that I wanted to do it was in my heart that the title of this series is called Calling to the Heart of a Man.
mm.
And every man and woman has a different calling. So I wanted to ask you, and if you're comfortable,
Mhm.
what exactly is calling to you? What kind of calling do you feel like you have? What is tugging at your heart and you've stepped out in courage to pursue?
Okay. I mean, for me, I feel like the calling on my life is people. Honestly, it's funny because friends or family, anybody will tell you it don't matter where we're at. You know what I'm saying? It could be somebody that were complete strangers or whatever, but by the end of the time, whatever, we're shaking hands, laughing, or like we known each other for years. And I feel like that's the calling that God has upon my life. It doesn't matter where it's at. It doesn't have to be in a certain setting. It doesn't have to be in a church setting. You know what I'm saying? It could be anywhere, and especially like on the football field, because that's what I do. I do play football, but
Mm-hmm.
even now, like the team that I'm on now, like I probably two people on the team I knew from back home,
Mm-hmm.
but pretty much everybody else was from different states. No
Wow.
idea coming down here to El Paso is, we're 5 minutes from the border of Mexico. So it's like it's completely demographics coming from, what I'm saying, Chicago to coming here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So coming down here, not knowing nobody, but just having that, that personality of just being, friendly, smiling, the way I dress, there's a big stereotype out there for black men, and they're always mean mugging, and they're always looking mad, or they're always dressing a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I really don't fit that criteria.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Off the first look, people are like, okay, who is this, black guy? Who's this big black dude? You know what I'm saying? But and then the voice doesn't make it any better, you know what I mean? But it's
Okay.
like once you start to have, a conversation and everything like that, people realize like, I would use the term gentle giant. A lot of people don't like that term because it's more of like what do I want to say? It's more like a Green Mile effect to them.
Mm.
Gentle giant. They're like, oh, you're trying to say I'm soft, or you're trying to say but I don't
Mm-hmm.
take it like that. I take it as, a gentle giant. Someone is, presumes to be, but you know what I'm saying, but can also be this, it can also be meek, mellow, you know what I'm saying, compassionate, caring, you know what I'm saying.
Well, you know what, Javon? That's one of those special things that I've noticed about you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's that I recognize when I was looking at and I heard the words, Adam, where are you? And it reminded me of God's calling
Mm-hmm.
to Adam. And the situation was that Adam had hid because of whatever disobedience,
Mm-hmm.
um, being deceived, being influenced
Mm-hmm.
wrongly, that
Right.
he hid himself. But it touched me that God was still looking for him. God
Mm-hmm.
was still calling to him.
Mm-hmm.
God was consistent. He it says that he met with Adam in the cool of the day. So he kept his appointment. He kept
Mm-hmm.
his, assignment when he reached out to Adam. And I just felt like God, through you, has reached out to so many people. And even in my own personal life,
Mm-hmm.
at a time when your grandfather and I were going through the pandemic and we were
Mm-hmm.
ill, and you came,
Mm-hmm.
Javon, you came and you took care of us. And even though maybe I couldn't express what was going on
Mm-hmm.
completely, that you were able to see and look beyond and minister to us.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody who's a minister is not always behind the pulpit.
Right, 100%.
And God has called you to minister to people on a football field. I think that
Mm-hmm.
is awesome.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool, and that's crazy that you say that because for a long time, like granted, like you guys' stature, my parents' stature, and sibling stature, like in church, I've always like had that, like man, like when am I gonna get behind the pulpit? When am I? That's just not. And then like I would do it, and I'm like, that ain't really my thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, like
Mhm.
everybody's going this way and doing this and in the church and stuff like that. And it's like I would always look at it as, well, hey, I can have a conversation with somebody that's not in church, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that's here, somebody's out on the football field, somebody's at the gym, sit at the gym for 3 hours, and the whole time I'd be sitting there talking to somebody, having a heart to heart. You know what I mean? Just having a conversation
Yes.
with them. And
Yes.
I and it took me a long time to realize. It took me into my adult years to realize that because I felt like I must have been doing something wrong or I was falling behind. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So it took me a real minute to realize that everybody's not called. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not called to minister behind the pulpit. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Or I don't even say the pulpit, I'd say the pulpit of the church. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it took
Okay.
me a while for that to like, there's people out there, you know what I'm saying, out in the field, you know what I mean? Just
Mhm.
and it comes
Mhm.
naturally. It's not nothing, like, and I'm not the type of person that'll come up to you and just boot. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we'll start off
Yes.
with a joke or like, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? You see something silly and I see something silly, we'll make eye contact and start
Mhm.
laughing. And it'll start off, somebody as simple as that, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like at the end of the day, God knows, you know what I'm saying? God knows my character and God knows how my heart is, So I feel like just with the heart, like even this being called heart to heart, like just God knows my heart and He surrounds me around people that from the outside you would never think that you guys would share something or have something
Mm.
in common. But it's like when you sit
Yeah.
down and get to know them, you get to know their heart. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And it's so wild because it's like on a football field. It's like a lot of these people you see them and you like they see me and they're like, okay, who is this big dude about to, whatever, whatever. And then they see like being silly and stuff like that. And I feel like even that in itself takes a big piece of the cake because it's like as
Yes.
men a
Yes.
lot of men are grown and to be taught that what I'm saying you're always tough and always hard and
Mhm.
and me I'm like don't get me wrong like I'm tough like you know what I mean but you see me as the complete opposite. I'm laughing. I'm doing high pitched voices, like we being silly, doing goofy laughs, and I feel like a lot of like the guys on a football team see that, and it's more of a like a wall destroyer. Like if their wall comes down because it's like
Oh,
I don't
good. Yes.
I don't have to
Yes.
be what I'm saying. I don't have to be
Yes.
this
Yes.
macho dude. I found somebody else on the team, even if everybody else ain't doing. I found somebody else on the team that I could be silly with
Mhm.
and I can let that wall down because it's tough. I'm not gonna lie. I've known that I'm super silly and and in touch with my emotions, and I tried for a very long time to just be tough and try to block it out, and it's hard because it
Mhm.
doesn't.
It
It takes
is.
a toll on you physically.
Yes, it does. Yes,
So it's like
it does.
after that, I'm like,
Emotionally
man,
too.
yeah, and I'm like, and people don't understand that how your emotions are connected to you physically. You sitting there, and it's something that you got to cry about, and you sitting there just and you keeping that little
Mm.
that little thing in your throat and you feel like you can't swallow, you know what I'm saying, and it's like
Mhm.
and you just trying to be tough, trying to sit there, and then you start sweating and doing all types of you know what I mean, like because it's like you don't want to
Yes.
express that
Yes.
emotion, and it's like
Yes.
I've came to like a realization in my life that it's just like whatever flows, you know what I'm saying,
Okay.
your brain tells your body what to do, you know what I'm saying, and like I said, God created us all equally, but all is different at the same time. Some people
Yeah.
express, emotions differently, and my token would be to just express it. What do you lose? What do you gain by, you know what I'm saying? you gain so much freedom by just expressing your emotions, and then you don't know how much, like you said, touching others. Like I had no idea the amount of people, I never know. I'm just being myself, being silly, being goofy, giving out a conversation, what I'm saying, or giving out help, what I'm saying, when it's needed. And it really never hits until that person's like, hey, back when or back then, when you talked to me like that was something that I really needed. And I'm like,
Right.
hey, what I'm
Right.
saying? I was just having
Yeah.
a conversation. I was just helping, what I'm saying? I was just doing
Yeah.
what I saw
Yeah.
fit, what I'm saying? Doing what, there's a saying they say, be the person that you needed when you were younger.
Mm.
And
Wow. That's
and it's
good.
it's wild that people say that, but it's like also at the same time as an adult, be the person that you need as an adult, because you never know. Like you said, somebody could have the same type of, what I'm saying, not issues, but interactions and things like that you have. And if
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, if you were that person, who would you need in your life, or what would you want someone to be like in your life?
Right.
So
Right.
that's what I try to implement.
Right. And you know what? That's why that calling to me is so
Hmm.
important. It because God came where Adam was. He was hiding.
Right.
He came to him. And Javon, we can come to people where they are.
Right. Yeah.
As I was saying in one of the other previous episodes,
Hmm.
some people are hiding in a bottle.
Yeah.
Some people are hiding in a drug stupor.
Uh-huh.
Some people are hiding in emotional pain
Mm,
because of loss or rejection
mm,
or things that I've done or things
mhm,
somebody has done to me. And I
mhm,
found myself hiding
mm.
behind that and not letting the true God ordained Rosemary come out.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
takes courage for you to
Mhm,
come out, Javon, to be that man on a football field because there's a lot of pressure
mhm.
to perform, a
Yeah.
lot. And people are expecting things of you.
Mhm,
And, I'm not saying that it's easy because I was also thinking about when God called Moses,
mm,
and he called Moses through a burning bush.
mm,
And the idea that the bush was on fire but it wasn't consumed, so it let me know that sometimes we can be in a fiery situation.
mhm,
Doesn't mean we're going to be destroyed, but it can be very painful.
mm,
And sometimes that calling that we have,
mhm,
make decisions,
mhm,
it can be painful. It
mhm.
can be like being in a fire.
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, and I'm not trying to get real personal,
Mhm.
or what are some of the difficulties and challenges you had to go through, if you don't mind,
Oh yeah, most definitely.
in pursuing this dream that you have?
It's a lot. I mean, I'll start from, I guess football world. I'll start from high school. I didn't get an opportunity because I was coming from a different school. I guess you could say rival school.
Okay.
North Chicago and Zion always been like, So I came from North Chicago to the Zion district, and I tried to play football. I got no playing time, not one,
Oh.
not 1 minute. And even to that aspect, that's a whole different story. But it didn't discourage me. It was just like, like, hey, they're not gonna play me, so they don't know me, They have little league football all the way up to, eighth grade. So it's
Mm.
like they don't know who I am, So I still, going to practice and, showing what I got and everything like that. So with that being said, fast forward, not getting any high school playing time, that cut into college. In college, they're like, yo, bro, if you didn't play in high school, like, who are you? You don't have film or
Mm.
a huddle account where you can see the film. And I'm looking at them like they speak in a whole different language because I have no idea what
Wow.
none of that stuff is.
Wow.
Like, no idea. I'm used to playing turkey bowl football, playing flag with my uncles and my dad, being a little kid playing out there. So that's, and watching football, I never got I played when I was little, but getting older, I never got any of that experience. So
Mhm.
with that being said, I even it came one Turkey Bowl. We were playing this tackle football on Thanksgiving, and a
Yeah.
couple of the guys were like, because at that point I was already, I was grown. I was out of high school. So they're like, "Hey man, you ever thought about playing semi-pro football?" And I'm like, "Semi-pro football? Like, whoa, like that's what's that about?" So
Mhm.
uh, they had me come to one of the tryouts, and they're like, what position do you play? And I'm like, dude, I have no idea. When I was in high school, they had me playing linebacker in practice, but I'm like, you're looking at my size, and they're like, dude, you play linebacker? Like what? And then you look up linebackers, they're these big old dudes that, what I'm saying, that's just terrorizing everybody on the field. So I'm like, hey, I play linebacker, and they're like, okay, looking and laughing, looking at me like, okay, all right. So we do the tryout for the semi-pro team, blow it out the water. They're
Mm.
like, who is this dude? Why is he so fast? And me just being me, I'm like, hey, like, I can say this now. I had no mechanics, no nothing. I just knew, you had to literally tell me, do this, do this, do this, like on the hand. I couldn't read football. I just knew, just like the raw aspect of it. Tackle this
Wow.
person, this, that, and the other. So as the years went by, playing a couple years in semi-pro, saying I got the hang of it, and started studying it more, on YouTube, studying, and where we come from, there, unless you got money, you're not going to no camps or you're not going to these people, these coaches who are exercising you and all that stuff like that, thousands of dollars a month. I'm outside with cones
Wow.
running drills in the backyard or going to a
Mhm.
park with friends or family and just running drills and
Wow.
stuff like that. So really uh just became a student of the game and never was too prideful and never too, what I'm saying, never not humble, just always willing to learn no matter what. So it got to the point to
That's
where
good.
became, rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, special teams of the year. And it just got to the point to where it was like, okay, he's going to the All-Star game every year. Like this dude is, and usually when you play football, it's like there's somebody always that's gonna come under you, that you got to try to compete with the newer guys, newer rookies, what I'm saying, stuff like that. And that was my thing. Like I always played as if I was a rookie, and I was always, a student to the game. So it got to the point to where it progressed, and God is just amazing because
Yes.
to even be where I'm at right now with no college at all,
Mm.
like and just playing semi-pro football because in the football world they look at semi-pro football as reckless football, but it's like I played 4 or 5 years of semi-pro, so that was my college.
Okay. You
You know what
learned
I
a
mean?
lot.
That I learned a lot. That was my college. So then it was
Mhm.
like it was time to you want to move up. You want to play professional football. So you know I got the call to go play in Minnesota at this Pigskin Classic game, and they were airing it. It was live. It was at the Minnesota Vikings Stadium, and it was so cool. Never been there. You know what I'm saying? I've been to a Bears game like once, so I'm like never been to the Viking
Mhm.
Stadium. So we're there. There's all these people there in this big old stadium. You playing this team. I think they were ranked like number 2 or something like that. It was this team was, but it was like when I play football. It's kind of like everything slows down.
Wow. Mhm.
Everything slows down, and I can see things happening before it happens, or we get over here, this is what's going to happen, this is going to happen. And it's just sitting there understanding, and to have that IQ is like, I thank God, because I'll talk to people about football all the time, and they're like,
Mhm.
bro, how do you even think, like, what? And I'm no college, no high school, just a student of the game, just, you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
And I tell people all the time, they're like, man, you down there, playing Texas, being pro and trying to go further up. What's your advice? And I'm like, man, it's all God. I don't have any. You can look at my paperwork. It doesn't add up. I shouldn't be here.
Wow.
And then to come out here and it's like JP, like that's what they call me, JP. They're like, okay, this dude JP is serious.
Mm-hmm.
There's something
Mm-hmm.
like that, and that's coming from people that I don't know.
Mm.
I'm coming down here and playing football and just seeing through the game. Even I've had referees come up to me and I like the way you play. You talk trash, but you play. You know what I'm saying? You
Mm-hmm.
don't you don't let them overlap each other. You know what I'm saying? You keep them equal. You know what I'm saying? You help out. You know what I'm saying? You do what you got to do, and I'm just grateful, to God because it's like we have football players in our family, but nobody that went that far. So it's like there's really no at this
Yeah.
point. It's just following, whatever God has for me because there's no really like, oh, I'm doing a copy paste because like this is all new to me. Just like it's new to the family. Everybody like, Javaughn, you out here doing
Yeah.
this and that, and I'm like, dude, I have no idea what's about to happen. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is. I just go in there, you know what I'm saying? Guns are blazing, just go in there and just go in there and play football. So it's like at this point now, it's like, our season's about to start and, we're going to be playing in Dallas. And it's so crazy how that works out because, Dallas Cowboys, that's my favorite football team.
That's
So
true.
so
I
we're playing in
remember.
Dallas, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
man, like, I'm like, God, what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what you trying to? You're trying to hand me a contract? You know what I'm saying? Like what you trying to do? But it's just, I'm just so grateful for the opportunities because when I look back on, that high schooler, there was that time that was just like, wow, like I'm out here giving it my all in practice.
Yes. Yeah.
And the coaches are like, oh man, who's that guy? But it's just like that, not knowing him, not knowing, what I'm saying, what he would produce, um, and not playing, it was very discouraging. It was like maybe I'm trash, maybe I'm not good.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And that settles
Yeah.
in, especially as a man, you know what I'm saying? That settles in because I feel like with guys, it's like you either play sports or you either, you know what I'm saying? Like, and if you play sports, it's not just, oh, you're on the team. You got to be playing. You need some play time. You need some clock time behind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that right there was just very, big. And, there was a lot of why are you playing semi-pro? You're not getting paid, but it's like you got to start somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a school background. And at the same time, I'm playing semi-pro. It looked like, oh, he's dominating, but really it was he's learning. I was learning that
Okay.
whole, you know what I mean? I was learning the whole entire time, just being there. So now, fast forward in here, I look back and it almost, I don't want to say it brings tears to my eyes, but it's just like, man, if I would have gave up playing football that
Mm.
junior year of high school,
Yeah.
because I say it now, even if I stop playing football now, I'm still proud that I made it all the way this far with no boosters, no nothing, like no, it's straight just raw God.
Yes. Yes.
Because I can't explain it. I try to put it on paper sometimes, like, hey, maybe they seen this game, or maybe they seen this, and it's like, no, like you just
Well,
got, what I'm saying. I just had my hand on you, and you just, I brought you up, So I just try to keep it like, it's all God. Try to point it back to God. People are, why? How do you play like this? Where'd you play? Da da da. I'm
yes.
like, dude, I'm some low life, not low life, but I'm some dude from, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
from North Chicago. I'm a black kid from North Chicago who wanted to play football.
Well, you know what, Javaughn?
Mm-hmm.
That's why that
Mm-hmm.
call, whatever it is, and
Mm-hmm.
wherever it leads you, is so strong.
Mm-hmm.
It and it's able to sustain you during difficult times. To remember, um, because I think about, I'm going back to the word where Jesus said, I only do what I see my Father do.
Mm-hmm.
I only say what I hear my Father say.
Mm-hmm.
His purpose and his call to accomplish the salvation of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And he went through very difficult times of
Mm-hmm.
rejection, of abandonment, of
Mm-hmm.
lying,
Mm-hmm.
even death. But his testimony was, I have completed the things that you've called me to do. That word
Mm-hmm.
call is very
Mm-hmm.
strong. And it's very powerful. But I wanted to say, Javaughn, I want to thank you. Thank you for, just sharing your
Mm-hmm.
heart. And it's important. Your call,
Mm-hmm.
your assignment is just as important as anybody else's. And that you're willing, you're open. I like that. You are a gentle giant.
Mm-hmm.
You're nobody to mess with,
Mm-hmm.
but you have a heart. You really have a heart to help and to encourage people. So I want to um, pray for you and for
Okay, for
those
sure.
who are going to be listening.
Mm-hmm.
And I want everyone to know that this is, how can I say, this is part 5, but we're going to do another episode. We're going to do
Mm-hmm.
another session because Javon's story continues.
Yeah. Oh
There's a lot
yeah.
more
Oh yeah. There's
about
definitely a lot
Javon,
more.
and that's
Yeah.
something about him,
Mm-hmm.
that he's a treasure that, and the doors have been opened, and I
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that. So, Father, I just want to thank you for Javon and for his heart and just the idea that he said yes, Father. And I wanted him to be himself. I didn't ask for any homiletics or him to come up and roll off and show us how many scriptures he knows or anything like that. But he just took us to a journey. He took us through his personal journey to where he is today. And we're looking forward to hearing more from him. And I pray for all those who are listening, will be listening, that they will share this episode with their husbands or significant others, their brothers, their sons, their grandsons, to let them know that there are men of integrity out there, not necessarily inside the four walls of the church, but they are representing you wherever they are. So I just thank you for him, and I give you praise, Father, for this time. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.